All right, welcome everybody to Helping the Brave podcast. My name is Amy Tiemeyer. I'm one of the hosts. I'm here with Ed Parco, and we have
I'm actually on this side, so
okay.
it's okay. I'm not over that way. I'm over this side, just so you know. And that's right. I'm Ed Parco. We try to have fun on here. We try to have serious conversations, try to have stuff, but it's all about enjoying what we do. So, who's today's guest there, Amy?
We have a wonderful Air Force veteran. Minda Parker is going to tell us all about herself and her story. But we can start with Ed's favorite question. Why did you choose the Air Force?
Honestly, I chose the Air Force because they offered me steak. I was going to join the Army, and the Army bought me Subway, and the Air Force bought me steak and potato. So I said, I'll talk to these guys and see what they have to offer.
That's a woman after my heart, man. Steak, of course.
That is wonderful.
Yeah. So, all right. So, since it was
Pretty
easy to get in, just there's easy steak dinner. What did you do when you were in the Air Force? What was the job that you went in for? How long were you in? When did you transition?
Yeah. So that's kind of an interesting thing too. I went in on what some people may know as a blank contract. I was one of those people that was like technically trying to run away from home. Not really, but kind of. And I just got tired of like my waitressing job and was like, let's get out of here. So I went in blank contract pretty much. I didn't know what my job was. I just had taken my ASVAB, and they said, I think they were like, you scored pretty high, so we're gonna, give you this list of jobs that once you get in, you can pick once you're in boot camp. You're like the last, I think, like week or two of boot camp, they're like, we'll tell you what your job is. So I went through most of boot camp not even knowing what job I was gonna do. And then I found out that they gave me the options of air traffic controller, which was my first pick, but I didn't get it. And then there was like a couple of other ones, but one of them down the line was in contracts, which I knew a little bit about, but not that much. But it's basically the people that purchase things for the military. So I don't know. I know different branches call it different things, but you're pretty much buying things for the bases, equipment for the bases, just all kinds of stuff. So you get to the TVs, the, flight line equipment, like anything that the people on the base need, office equipment. That's what we do.
So, and this is going to be sexist. So it's a great job for a woman who wants to buy a lot of stuff. She can buy a lot of stuff while she's in, right?
I mean,
and I know that's sexist, but I'm just, So.
You've all heard it, I guess, of government credit cards. So I guess it's like you could just, we'll go with that. Buying a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
No, I mean, I understand totally what it is. I was corpsman in the Navy. So I worked in a hospital. I understand where you purchase stuff, when you have to get stuff and where it comes from, So
it's a process. It's stacks of paper and it has to go through lots of approvals. And then they say, yep, we'll buy it. So
the question is, did you use that when you got out?
I would say I did. I feel like I use it more in my personal life than professionally. I've kind of switched gears as far as like career wise since then, but I've worked in a lot of administrative roles and I've had to manage budgets for, executives and stuff like that. So it all kind of ties together in one form or another. Yeah.
Very good. So what do you use from doing contracts the most, like from the Air Force, I would say? Is it just how you read them, or?
I will say like reading and comprehension of details. I mean, you don't really want to mess up, if you're dealing with like hundreds of thousands of dollars, you kind of want to make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. I don't know how they do it in the Navy, but they have, when you join the military and you get to like your first base, you have a sponsor, which is like someone who shows you around the base and helps you learn your job. They kind of like your trainer. They tell you what you need to learn, how to do your job. So I took a lot of information from them, and they actually are still doing what they were doing back when I joined. So I learned a lot, and there's a lot of courses and training, but you definitely take the financials aspect of it. And, you're able to apply that in a lot of different areas of your life.
So on the 2-year contract did you have to do reserves after that for a few years?
I actually didn't. I actually I injured my knee while I was in, and they were doing a lot of, I guess, what they call foreshaping. I don't know what they call it now, but pretty much if you got hurt and, you got out, that's kind of, it wasn't really like we're trying to keep everybody. They're actually trying to get rid of people. So it wasn't really a huge, long process with me getting out. It was pretty quick.
Do you mind me asking what year that was?
2006.
Okay, yeah, that was the reduction of the military. That's when they were pushing to reduce the military. So yes. I could see why they're like, "Oh, you hurt yourself? Let's get you out of here. See you later."
Bye. Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so then they transitioned you out. When they did that, that's medical. Did they retire you medically? How did they do with that? Did you just say, "Okay, you're out of"? I'm just trying to understand how they did that transition for you.
Honestly, it happened so fast. There was just, it was very quick. But yeah, it was medical, and they just, I feel like I blinked and it was over. Honestly, they go over like your fight, like your leave, or I guess I'm not sure what they call it now, in the Air Force with, like, I guess it's like when you separate, there's like a period of time that you get paid for, like, when you leave the military, I guess if it was
terminal
like,
leave.
Yeah, I feel like they call it terminal leave, like in the Navy. Yeah. So basically there's that type of leave. And then I guess any leave that you still had, that you hadn't used, but they pay you back for that. So you get that money basically when you separate. They give that to you.
All right. So go ahead. Did you have a question, Amy? I'm sorry.
I didn't. No, I'm fine.
All right. So with the all right. So all of a sudden, boom, you're out.
Right.
What did you, that's had to be a shock too. What do you do now? How did you figure that out? What did you find,
Yeah. I feel like I had already kind of been in the working world prior to. I feel like a lot of my friends got out of school, like, high school, went straight to college. I was that kind of straggler. So I kind of worked after high school and then joined the military and then got out, and I was kind of still in that transition period. So I worked a little bit, I think the first area that I went into was, I was like, let me get a government contract job. Like, let me go ahead and, because my security clearance was still good and still active. So a lot of people are like, you still have an active clearance, get on a base, use it. And that's where I started. I started off like doing, I was actually doing like security for one of the bases. And then it switched over into more of like an admin type of role. And that's kind of where I stayed since then.
Very good. And then any big life events happened to you since
that's a good segue. But before you get into that,
all right,
I have a question for you. All right. So you stayed in that. How long? Did you stay in that forever till this life event happened, or you got out of that because of the life event that we're going to talk about?
You mean, did I stay in?
How long did you stay in the? Because you did government contract,
Oh yeah. Well, I was actually still working as a government contractor up until it was, I think 10, 11 years. It was a long time. I worked as different locations, but I worked as a government contractor, like the military hospitals, just like different, like the Navy bases. I've been doing that for a decade. So I was actually not working as a contractor when my major life event happened. And then after it happened, I went back to a base and ended up working, doing some more government work as well. So, and then kind of transitioned out of that. So I've been in it for a long time, got out, and then life events, and then got back in, and then switched careers. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything.
But you're still working as a government person, right?
I'm actually working in the medical field now.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah, I work for a hospital. It's kind of a part of the major life changes.
All right, well, let's talk about that since we brought it up. We're there now. All right, so what happened to you? So you're working. Just tell the story. I'll stay out of it.
Okay, so I was working for an insurance company, and then it was like a normal. I think it was like a Valentine's weekend in February of 2020, and I woke up one day and everything was normal, and then it wasn't. I had a brain AVM.
Is this okay, or is that too much pressure on you? We never ask, but I want to make sure it's okay. If not, we'll put you back to the 3.
Yeah, why ask? It's all absolutely okay. Yeah, so I had a brain AVM rupture. It's like basically I had a brain aneurysm, a brain AVM rupture, and a stroke. All of it basically at the same time.
Which normally kills you.
Yeah, when you have a brain aneurysm, a lot of people don't live. A lot of people don't live from that. So, it's there's a lot of people walking around. I think they said like 1 in 50 may have like an unruptured brain aneurysm. People just walking around don't know it. But yeah, woke up one morning, had the worst headache of my life. I was just kind of getting ready to go to brunch and, hang out with my now fiance. And all of a sudden it's called a thunderclap headache. And now it kind of makes sense why they call it a thunderclap headache, because you literally feel like thunder and lightning. The biggest storm of your life is going on in your head. I instantly lost feeling in both of my legs. I had started vomiting, which this is where I knew something was really wrong, because nobody likes to throw up, but that was definitely one of the signals, the signs for me that something was really, really wrong. And at the time I thought I was speaking normally, and I found out later on that my speech was actually a little bit slurred. And so my fiance, he was trying to figure out what I was saying, and he couldn't understand me. And I was like, okay, now it makes sense that he didn't know. But yeah, slurred speech is one of the signs of a brain aneurysm. And I lost consciousness. The ambulance came. I was in Virginia Beach at the time, and the wonderful workers over at Princess Anne Centera helped me out, and basically got me stabilized enough before they flew me on the Nightingale, which is the helicopter for the hospital in Norfolk, and flew me to Centera in Norfolk. And they had to put a drain in my head. And then about 4 days later, I had a craniotomy, which is surgery to open my skull and operate on my brain to remove the AVM.
Where was the AVM? I mean, where was the aneurysm on? Was it in a certain part?
So my brain bleed was on the left side. So it was towards the back of my head on the left side. And what happened was it affected my right side functioning. So whereas now I can like move my hand and do more stuff, this side was weak. My right side was weak. And I had to go through a lot of therapy to get the use. And I still have to, do certain exercises and things to maintain the, like my nerves and kind of like maintain the movement. Otherwise, like this side kind of gets a little bit slow and sluggish. But yeah, I had a brain bleed on the left, and it affected my right side.
Right. So I worked in physical therapy when I was in the Navy. So so I actually worked the time that I enjoyed was working with stroke patients and helping them relearn and redo everything. So I totally understand that, one side, the other side. But this is not. I mean, most people die from this. They don't even have time to come back. So
right. And I didn't have time to think. I tell people all the time, like, I didn't have time to really think about my family and my friends. It was happening so quickly. And then everything just went dark, and it's a darkness that I thought I'd never come back from, but I'm grateful that I did. God is good.
All right, was there anything that was done to help you to come back from this? I mean, was it your fiance got you to the hospital right away? I mean, what was the thing that was the one thing that most people don't have? Because you follow what I'm asking? What helped?
Absolutely. The quickness of the phone call to calling 911 right away, and then getting me the medical attention. I know a lot of people that do. I've heard stories where people have passed away. They didn't get the attention right away, or the problem is a lot of people aren't taking this seriously. When someone says they have a headache and it's not a normal headache, they need to get scanned. They need to get seen right away, even if you think it's nothing. I mean, I say treat it like you would treat chest pain and heart attacks, because you just never know. And the fact that it's much more common that these unruptured AVMs and these aneurysms are there, that it's, they're killing people. There's, a lot of, I know celebrities even, more recently that have actually been coming to the forefront and talking about this and making people aware of it, because it's like a silent killer. And the worst part is a lot of people don't know you've had this happen until they do an autopsy on you. And I'm fortunate that that was not the case for me.
Yeah, you wouldn't be here talking to us.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Amy. I'm sorry.
Is there any concern for recurrence, or once you have one, you're golden? Not that you're golden, but
or do you have to be on blood thinners? What's the deal?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question, and it really varies for everyone. But for me personally, I was on a lot of medication initially when I went home. Sometimes they put you on like anti-seizure medications. Some people end up on like blood thinners. I know when I was in the hospital, they had to give me a heparin shot every single day, actually twice a day. I had to get a heparin shot in my stomach. That was not fun, but they then they send you home with like, your pain meds and your anti-seizure meds and just anything to kind of like make sure that, you're okay, going forward. But yeah, I have to get, what they did was they do what's called an angiogram, which is the best way to find out if you have this. It is considered a surgical procedure. They do like an incision in your like groin area, and they run like, I guess, like a catheter type of device, and it goes and it shoots a dye into your like blood vessels, and they're able to see, your vessels and if there's any tangles or knots or any weirdness going on, and they're able to see it very clearly on the screen. I actually I was out for 2 of mine, like completely like unconscious. But then when I went back for the rechecks, which they did annually, I've had 2 rechecks. I had like a 6-month, and then I had like in my annual, and they found nothing, no evidence of an AVM. So it was removed perfectly.
Nice. That's great.
Yeah, it is.
So you had written something about how there's been information that maybe there are more people in the service who have AVMs. Can you talk to us about that?
Right. So there's a lot of people that, I mean, obviously we know there's a lot of people in the military, but they actually say that the health risk for AVMs is higher for military personnel than the general civilian population. And it's most commonly seen in people who are ages of 20 to 40. I've heard on several occasions, it's between the ages of 35 and 40 is when it's really, really high, that people have events happen during that time, like ruptures and that sort of thing. I was 35 when it happened. And so they basically say that, they're, with a lot of people, I've heard that they're, it's more extreme if you've had like certain traumatic injuries, which I know a lot of people in the military have sustained traumatic injuries. And that's what can kind of in some cases lead to the ruptures. And there's no warning. Like, you just don't know when it's going to happen. It's literally like a ticking time bomb in your body. But a lot of issues happen because, military facilities or medical facilities, or, they're not sending you to the proper like specialists, or they're not taking you seriously. When you're requesting scans and things like that, then they're going to miss this. And then you may not be around to, tell your story or to help somebody else. So I'm at a point where I advocate for my health every single day. Anytime I have to see a doctor for anything, I definitely still, like, I currently go to the VA for healthcare, but when I need to see a specialist, I ask to see the specialist. I ask if I have to go, I guess if it's whoever's in network for the military, if they can't treat me at the VA, I want to see a specialist. And they make sure it happens. I've actually, my last procedure, this is just going back into what people can do when they get out, advocate for your health, because if you are a military member and you had something happen and they, consider it service connected, they need to make sure that you're taken care of. So I had a $70,000+ procedure that the VA covered. And even my angiogram, my most recent angiogram was like it was like $20-something thousand procedure. And I didn't have to pay for it. So
are they saying this is service related?
Yeah, they're listing it as service connected. But even that's the other part of it too, with the military, if you're not advocating for I had issues with my knee back when I was, when I first got in, and, a lot of stuff we just kind of sweep under the rug. But you need to make sure they're documenting that. If you're a service member, get your stuff documented before you get out. Make sure that everything's there so that your health is taken care of down the line. People go into the military without families or, children or anything like that. And then you get in and you have, families and kids and stuff like that. And you want to be around to take care of them. You want to be in their lives. And after all you do for your country, you should be able to, basic for me is healthcare, so.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, when we're in, we don't want to go to sick call. We don't want to do this because we thought, we don't want to do that. And that's like, even my son, I'm like, some things have happened, like in boot camp, like in the Army, they come out of there like, ringing in their ears from being around all that stuff. And they don't want to say anything because they heard that so-and-so got kicked out because they heard about this. So I say, that's fine. Just go see a doctor.
Exactly.
No, it doesn't have to be a military doctor. It could be any doctor. Just get it documented.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. Even if it isn't a military doctor, sometimes that works in your favor. And what I'm learning about, with a lot of, just from now, I work in a hospital. So learning about, how medical records are a lot more easily accessible for patients. You have access, you have the, the my charts and the different, things that you can have access to pretty quickly. After you've been given a diagnosis and medications, you can print that out. You can send that, get that added to your military records, or, for them to have, on file for the VA, or anything that you need to make sure it crosses over. But it's a lot of that stuff now is electronic. So you don't even have to worry about the paper copies anymore. You can email or scan in, upload. And it's really helpful for a lot of service members.
Yeah, I agree. I was just telling a girlfriend, I was at an event for the Wounded Warrior Transition Battalion out here. And I said, I know twice I lost consciousness in the Army and never even went to the sick hall. Didn't even think about it. They just waited for us me and this other person to regain consciousness. You good?
Well, yeah. Unless it's alcohol related.
It was not alcohol related.
All right. So we had a couple comments. They're not coming through StreamYard. We need to put on the bottom of our stuff that you need if you're going to make a comment on Facebook. StreamYard needs you to say okay. So you have to click that little button like Steve does. Sorry, it's not you. All right. So I'm going to bring them through this way. I made banners. She said it was a very inspirational story.
Oh,
okay.
Thank you.
And then someone actually had a question. Is this relation to at all to high blood pressure?
I honestly don't want to say that it is or it isn't, because that's actually a good question for a doctor. Right. But I will say that when there is a correlation when you're talking about aneurysms and AVMs and blood pressure. Is the blood pressure gets too high, and that's what causes the rupture. So you could be doing, a lot of times these rupture during exercise. So I can't even imagine how many people over the years may possibly have been doing PT and this happened, and because you have higher blood pressure and it's going through your body, and people have, these ruptures because it could be, you just never really know the why all the time, but you definitely know that something is wrong when this happens. So I definitely say, if you have any idea about potential high blood pressure, get yourself checked out. Just speak to your doctors and see what you can do. The scans for this are very non-invasive. The angiogram is a surgical procedure, but CTs and MRIs are not non-invasive. So I recommend people do that. And anyway, because a lot of people sustained injuries, whether they were wounded while in the military or otherwise, and you may not know. You might have gotten hit in the head and you don't even know that there's a potential issue. You just think, oh, I bumped my head, or oh, something happened, but there could be something much more going on if you don't get checked out,
Right. I'll put it this way. I do a radio show. And we had a plumber on. He was talking about when the water pressure is too high in your house that it can blow out certain things, right? Exactly. Same thing. If your pressure is too high, you're going to blow out issues that you have throughout your body. I know from being lifting and people, bodybuilders, they're saying how high their blood pressure goes while they're bench pressing or squatting ridiculous amount of weight. All that stuff can happen. So you need to take care of that and get that stuff taken care of.
Yeah. So. I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my friends actually in my AVM survivor community was a weightlifter, and like competitively, and it happened to him, and he had to completely relearn how to do everything in his life. He can't even do the stuff he used to do before.
Moral of the story. So what do you? All right. So we take care of yourself.
Yes.
Take care of if you're overweight, lose a little bit of weight. I'm working on that myself. Because you just never know as you get, it's easy to gain weight, especially through COVID that we've been through. I mean, they call it COVID-19 for a reason, gain at least 19 pounds. Is that how you never heard that? That's my thing. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
So so take care of yourself, go to the doctor. The biggest problem about most guys, I know I'm in the minority here right now. Most guys don't go to the doctor. Yeah. Luckily, my wife works for Kaiser. So it's like, I go to the doctor, there's no issue not to go to the doctor. So, but the other thing you talked about when you're in the military, document everything and go through your chart. And then as you get out, if other things pop up, go back to the VA and get it rechecked and get it up and all that kind of stuff so that it is seen, so you can get taken care of later on in life from the VA and do other stuff.
It makes it so much easier if you have documentation, because even when you do go to the VA, they're able to look and see, okay, well, we already did this, or we already have this procedure, and they can continue to diagnose from there,
Yeah.
I agree. Great advice. Everyone should take it.
All right. I'm going to go back to all three of us. Is that okay?
I missed you guys.
Yeah. So now you can see us all. Now you're actually in charge. So you got to take care of everything.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go. All right. So I don't want to say great story because I'm sorry that you went through that. But how does that, besides the fact of coming back and working through coming back, how has it changed your life, or what have you done with it to change and do certain things? Because a lot of times people go through traumatic things. They were doing something in life and now they're like, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to waste any bit of my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Goodbye, fiance, goodbye, so-and-so, whatever. I'm not saying that's your situation, but a lot of people will do that going, this is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. That's the Talking Head song. You would know that, you're too young. But anyway, I'm just saying, how has that changed you going forward in life?
Wow. Yeah. Everything has changed. I just look at, I'm great. I'm just my gratitude. I'm so grateful to be alive. I've heard so many stories, and even people that I know that have children that suffered from this, that have passed away. So I know how blessed I am to still be here. And there's a reason, why I am still here. And a big part of what I do is to just really raise awareness of this issue. And also to let, even veterans know, like, you can advocate for yourself. It's hard to kind of get out of your comfort zone, or you feel like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but there are a lot of resources, and even fellow members of the military have been able to give great advice on how to, transition. So for me, I am grateful for every second. I have they're on this side, 2 7-year-olds. And that was the biggest thing for me, was the thought that I wasn't going to be here for them. It's like, I've been there since day one, and I don't know how they would be if I wasn't here. I don't know what their life would be like if I wasn't here to help them. I really, really active with trying to raise awareness about these issues. I started my own apparel company called God Is My Glow Up. And at this point, all the proceeds are going back either to giving back to the AVM survivor community, or giving to the homeless. We put together like care packages for the homeless people. A lot of times we just think, money, just throw money at a problem and that's it. But a lot of these homeless people, they need basic essential items, toothpaste, toothbrushes, wipes, nail clippers. You can go to like your local dollar store and grab a bunch of this stuff when you're in there, and just we bag everything. And then if we keep them in the car, we keep them in the trunk, we keep them in the house. If we happen to be out and we see someone, we can, pass these out, keep some bottles of water, anything that we can kind of give out. Cause I see it more now since COVID. There's a lot of homeless veterans out here, and, they're in need, and it's heartbreaking to see it. So we do everything that we can to give back. And like I said, I'm just so fortunate to still be here. So that's a big part of what I do, is trying to give back to organizations like Ben's Friends, which helps people with rare diseases. The AVM and Aneurysm Foundation, also known as TAF. The B Foundation is also helping AVM and brain aneurysm survivors. But there's a lot of organizations out here that help people like me. The Brain Aneurysm Foundation. So you can, there's so many ways to give back. They do a lot of fundraising events. So you can check out any of those sites and, help them out, support them, because they support people like me.
I'm smiling because now Amy has no question to ask you, because that's her question. She always asks our guests, do you do any volunteering? So,
well, because I think that's part of our story too. And
we give back. Veterans always take care of other people and give back. That's how it is. So,
but it's really cool to hear all the different places that people get involved in and the things that they do. And so thank you for sharing, Minda.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
No, it's actually been great, because we want people to come and tell their story and how they've got, because people need to know this stuff, that there's help. I mean, your story is amazing. everybody has a story that you need to tell. But the issue is yours also talked about how take care of yourself, go through the VA, document what you did while you're in, go get help if you get hurt. All the stuff that people don't do, you are saying, make sure you do it. It's different now than when I was in, it was all paper. So you know, now it's all electronic. There is no reason not to have it uploaded and in the system.
Yeah. And nowadays, another thing that because I actually had a little bit of insight into that process of the claims process when people do file claims. It's a lot quicker now. So people that are kind of apprehensive or on the fence about, should I file a claim? Should I do this? Should I do that? As long as you have all your paperwork and documentation, do it. Just go ahead and you can upload all your supporting documents, anything from your doctors, from the hospital, and it's quick. They have people working ferociously behind the scenes to get these done in an under 30-day window to at least get you a status as far as whether they're still working on it or whether they're making a decision, or, you know, so I say just do it.
I do have another question. Where are you located?
I am in Virginia right now. I'm in Chesapeake, Virginia.
You said right now. Is that where you live, or you're just visiting?
That's why I live in Chesapeake, Virginia, but I don't know. I'm considering, you know, moving to like Fiji or something. No, I'm kidding. Like maybe Canada. I don't know.
Well, that's not going to help you. It's just as bad as here.
Right.
They do the same. You need someplace that, anyway. Most veterans think a certain way, and I'll just leave it at that. We won't need to get in politics, because I know a lot of people going, I'm moving to Cayman, so I'm moving other places. Yeah.
I'm here. I am definitely in the United States of America.
There you go. Amy, anything else? I mean, because the other thing I was going to say, Amy's wheelhouse is volunteering like you would know nobody's business, giving out free stuff and getting all that. So you two should connect and see what else you guys could do together.
Absolutely.
Yes, I think that would be cool. Anything I can do to help. Absolutely. Thank you for that, Ed.
You know, she's new at this. She'll get there.
He's good for something, right, Amy?
That's right. That really hurt, Minda.
Sorry.
You're breaking up now. I can't hear you anymore.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Minda, Ed is a very sensitive man.
I'll bring tissues next time.
Wow.
There you go.
Anything else you want to add there, Amy or Minda, before we go?
No, I'm good.
I'm not kicking you out. I just want to make sure we get to we make sure we hit everything that we wanted to get across today.
Yeah, I mean, get scanned. I will say I am back in school. I do want to put that out there because I've been working really, really hard lately. I'm going back to school. I'm getting my BS in health information management. And I'm actually working for the same hospital system that saved my life. So.
Oh,
right, because cool. I meant to ask you about that because you said you went into the hospital. So what are you doing in the hospital now? Purchasing?
Well, no, but I have input on what gets purchased a little bit, not a little teeny bit. But no, I'm working as admin right now, just because I am in school and I'm full-time mom and I'm doing a little bit of everything. So, but the hospital I work for is amazing, and the people there are so great, and we have some wonderful patients, and I'm enjoying it. I feel like it's definitely this event has given me so much purpose, and I'm grateful every day that I wake up. And even seeing, with COVID, I don't know, can you say that on these channels now? I feel like when you say COVID-19 that they pop up with all these warnings, but yeah, just seeing.
We'll let you know if you did that to us.
Just seeing all this stuff going on, and when you're working in a hospital, you see these patients, you see people come in. So it's one of those things where you just want to care for people. You want to let them know that you're there for them. And I'm just grateful to still be here to do that.
Oh, and we're grateful that you are still here and what you're doing. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
And thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate it. Telling your story.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Amy?
Well, if you're watching us on YouTube, please.
That's not what I was saying. I was asking if you had another question. I'm sorry. I was just looking at you. I have another question. My wife keeps texting me. Are we going to dinner? When are we going to dinner?
You should feed her. Ed, feed her.
I will feed her. Actually, I'll order her a steak tonight.
There you go.
And potato. Good
Yeah.
with the potato.
Yeah, I don't know what she's going to have, but probably tri-tip or something like that. Who knows? It's California. We don't do,
Oh, you're in California. Yeah, that's my old
Modesto.
home.
Modesto.
I'm
Where's your old home?
My old home is the Bay Area, Novato,
Okay.
Marin County.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm up in Washington, so.
Is it
sorry,
raining?
Amy.
It is
Sorry,
not.
Amy.
It is hot. It is
It's-
hot and uncomfortable because we aren't normally this hot.
It's hot here too, but
Must be the global warming.
Anywho.
Yeah, let's move on. All right. Thank you, both of you, for being here today. I really appreciate it. Take
Thanks,
us out,
Ed.
Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
Take us out.
Oh, okay. Well, everybody have a great day.
Or don't.
Or don't, but
I'm talking about taking us out if you don't
had
want
a
to
great
go.
day.
Yeah.
And here again, hit subscribe if you're on YouTube.